All right, everybody, welcome back to Mini Bike Mike's the CT70 Garage. So a few days ago, I posted a picture of 3 bikes that I was going to be buying off of my local flipper, a guy that I probably bought 30, 40 bikes off of over the years. And I didn't tell you how much I paid. I threw it out there and asked you guys, based on the crappy picture that I'm posting, what would you pay for these bikes in your area? And we had a lot of fun, a lot of comments, guys, throwing out numbers and talking about the bikes, and that was fun. So yesterday at about 4:30 p.m., the guy shows up and delivers the bikes to me, and we unloaded them off of his pickup, and I rolled them in here, or we rolled them in here and set them just like you see them now. And I kind of did a quick walk around, but I didn't, touch them or do anything. So I thought, what, I wanted to wait to turn the camera on and let you guys walk around them with me for the very first time. So I paid $2,500 for the 3 bikes that you see, plus a few parts that are on a table that I'll show you. I don't know, good price, bad price. The CT70 looks mostly complete and is probably, a good $2,000 if I just wanted to flip it just as is. If I actually went through it and cleaned up a few things and made sure it was running and do all those sorts of things, it would probably, I could get the $2,500 that I paid for everything out of that one bike. The flipper that I bought it off of, whoever he got the bikes from, said that the CT70 and the little white Z50 were runners and riders. So we're going to find that out in today's video. But before we dive into those bikes, let's pick you up and we'll look at this table of random parts. I got a few parts down here. So there was a Z50 rim and tire. And it's got the 3-bolt pattern with the oval holes. So it's going to be off of something like this bike, which is a 1998. There's also a couple Z50 mufflers of some vintage. I'm not a Z50 guy, so I really don't know what years had what parts. This Z50 rim has the round holes and is bolted on with 4 bolts, although it's missing one. So it's an older version like this bike you see here with the round holes, and it is a 1979. So at some point between 1979 and 1998, Honda went from the round holes and 4 bolts to the oval holes and 3 bolts. Moving on, I got a Stator cover that has the typical hole where the chain jumped off and busted a hole in the Stator cover. That's an air box off of, I believe, a Z50 flywheel and parts, which I'm assuming are off of this engine. AB02. It doesn't have any markings, so I'm not sure. Is that a Z50 number? You guys have to tell me. I don't know. That's not Honda hardware, so someone's been in this and had it apart or something. This engine is, I'm pretty sure, is a Chinese one, Chinese clone, based on that number, and it's a 12-volt engine. Based looking at the wiring, that's typical 12-volt. If this is the cylinder off of it, it's 49 cc, and I believe that's the head that goes with it. Let's see, then there's this engine, which is a 49 cc that has a carburetor on it, but I'm not sure what that carburetor came off of. It's, what does that say? Oh, can I zoom in? Oh, I'm facing the wrong direction. Made in Czechoslovakia. Huh. All right, you guys tell me, what the heck is that carburetor off of? That's kind of cool. It's got, show you the number on it. I don't have any idea on Z50 numbers. What is that? It's Z50A 303120. I did notice this. Look at this Kickstarter. So somebody has bolted and welded, focus on it, rather poorly, it onto this, which looks like a heel toe shifter that they've cut off. Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around here. Yeah, this looks like a heel toe shifter, and they've cut it off, and then they welded and bolted a Kickstarter to it. So anyway, that's the parts I got with the bikes. I don't know if I got anything at all there, but rims and tires and the exhaust are, you know, maybe usable, something down the road. So let's jump into the bikes. We'll just start with this little white one first. It is I think the tag we said, what was it, 1998 Honda Z50R. It looks in decent shape. The plastics look in good shape. The decals are obviously worn from knee wearing. I think these are a 12-volt engine, if I'm not mistaken. You know, the CT70s went to 12-volt in the 90s. I don't know if these are or not. It doesn't seem to be molested and torn apart, you know, like somebody's been in it. It does have a rip in the seat right here, which that's a shame. The rest of the bike, the plastics look in pretty good shape. The exhaust looks in pretty good shape. It does have a broken brake lever, and the run off switch is broken. So they must have downed the bike or something here. It's missing a number plate off of the front. Yeah, that looks like a 12-volt coil. So I think these are 12-volt engines. It looks like they've taken the wiring that was supposed to go to this kill switch, and they've got it up here to a kill switch over here that looks to also be broken. It's missing the button part out of it. It's just the housing. Oh, it's got a full tank of gas. Well, hell, we got $20 worth of gas in it. So they said it ran. Let's find out. Turn fuel on. We'll give it some choke. I don't think there's any kind of key switch or anything other than these kill buttons. Oh, there we go. That doesn't sound bad at all. Might need a carburetor clean. It's cold too. Maybe it'll warm up. With the choke off, it stuns a little bit. Up or down? Not down. Well, it goes in gear. Well, cool. Since I got no other way to kill it, we'll just do it that way. So yeah, I think this will be a fun little project. We'll dig into it. We'll have to figure out what's going on with the kill switches. I did notice that the 79 has the exact same kill and control that this one does. So we'll probably rob the parts, or just rob this whole hand control assembly, take it off of this bike, and put it on this one and get this one as nice and complete as we can. Now, I'm not going to hunt down a number plate. Oh, I see it's got a bent fork too. I don't know if you guys can tell that, but the bottom of the fork has been, it kind of tilts back. So they've hit something with it. They did that, and then that's when they broke this. I find it interesting that these newer ones don't have adjustable handlebars. They're just rigid. They don't have risers on them like this one to be able to loosen up and adjust the tilt of the handlebar. But that'll make a nice little, video, just one video. We'll go through it and clean it up and maybe clean the carburetor on it and make sure it's running soundly, and then we'll flip that bike. All right, let's look at this one. Now, I can tell you right now, it's not going to start. The engine's not hooked to anything, so we're not going to hear this one go putt-putt. Paint is worn, patina, whatever you want to call it. Tank's dry as a bone, and it doesn't look horrible. It's got a little dent right there where the handlebars obviously has come back and cracked it at one point. It's got a broken rear fender that they've zip tied. Coil just kind of hanging there. The carburetor has got Permatex on both ends of the intake to try and keep it from air leaking. They've stuck a piece of tape over the end of the carb to keep anything from getting in it. That's nice. The front fender looks to be in decent shape, and the forks and the handlebars don't look too bad bent, so it could be a project for us for down the road. This one's not going to be any, we're not going to jump on this one any too soon, that's for sure. We got other things to do. Looks like someone's been into at least the clutch side of the engine. You can see how the hardware is boogered up right there. Yeah, they've been in. They've had this case off, this side off of the engine before. It's missing hardware off the shocks. I think these came with side plates. I might be wrong, but I think this might have had a side number plate on the sides. I don't know about the front. I don't know if we're missing something here or if that's the way it was. I'd have to do an internet search and look on that. I don't know much about Z50s. All right, well, let's move to something that I do know about, and that is CT70s. And when I glanced over this bike last night when it showed up, it looked pretty complete. It does have an incorrect exhaust on it. That's from a K1 or newer. And it's missing the spark plug guard here. That is an incorrect spark plug boot. And the spark plug wire goes down and under the engine. Oh, yep. See right there, they've taped it. They've cut this is the original spark plug wire, and they had a problem with the boot, so they cut it and added a length with that other boot. I'm looking at hardware and so forth. This engine doesn't look like it's been broke open. Stator cover's in good shape. Chain guard. I don't see any rust holes. It's got the little plastic thing on the key. Tell you what, let's start back at the front and work front to back on this bike. Look like we got all the front end, the front wheel parts are there. Got a decent looking fender. The gators are dry rotted and cracked. I'm surprised they're still hanging on and haven't fallen down. Yeah, the fender's good. The headlight is definitely blown. See it in there? The bulb is definitely blown in that. The bucket is faded but not broken, which is good. It's got a little crack right there on the headlight ear. But the bucket itself looks okay. $2,382 miles. That's about right. And all the bikes, all the CT70s I've owned, they have somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 miles. I wonder if this speedometer works. Hang on, I'm going to set you on this little Z50 for a second. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not. No, you might not be able to see it, but I'm going to tilt it back and just spin the tire. No, we got no movement out of the needle at all. So I'm going to guess someone's had the front tire off of it at some point and did not get the speedometer gear back in the correct place, and so it's not spinning with the wheel. So who knows how many miles, how long ago that happened. The handlebars do not look bent. The levers aren't broke. The cables are all there. Okay, that one came loose. That one is too. Well, that's nice. But what I'm getting at is I don't think it's been downed. I don't think it's been wrecked. Like I said, the bars are in good shape. It does have an incorrect grip on this side. This one is correct. Horn button seems functional. They've broken the knob off the high-low switch. That's not all that uncommon. The carburetor looks fairly clean. I'm wondering if it looks cleaner than the rest of the engine. Like somebody's maybe tried to clean that. It's got a complete air box with all the rubber parts, which is good. Wiring, everything here looks good. All the brake parts. The hardware. I don't think they've been into this engine. It looks in pretty good shape. Well, this isn't the original exhaust. I was going to see if it was broke. I'm seeing some... it's not going to focus. I got too many other things in the way. I'm seeing some crud back here, so I got a feeling we're going to see some mousage underneath the seat. The Kickstarter is not at the original angle. The original Kickstarters, when they came from the factory from Honda, were more laid back a few degrees. So someone's had that off and re-put it back on at a different spot. It may have slipped or stripped or something, and they put it back. So that has been moved. Rear tire looks like I said, all the brake parts, the springs, everything is there. It's going to need brake shoes. You can tell by how far adjusted that is. So I'm guessing the rear brakes are shot. The tail light is complete. Not broken. It's faded, but not broken. Rear fender, the license plate bracket, the whole tail light bracket's not bent. Wow. Seat is obviously seen better days, but it is the original seat. I would say it's the original seat. It's got a hole up here and tear back there, but that's not a big deal. I wonder what the pan looks like. Yeah, pan has the typical brakes in the metal from where they pick the bike up by the back seat. They pick the whole bike up. Well, it doesn't look horrible under here. I do see the orange things. That might be off the seat. No, it doesn't. Not the same color as the... I see a little bit of evidence that maybe we've had mouse stuff down in there. Oh yeah, definitely. Right in there. But fortunately, the wiring doesn't look bad. We've still got the loop and the plug for the battery. Then no one's cut that and hacked around it, so everything in there looks all original. It's got fuel in it. So, like I said, I was told that this was also a runner. Well, let's find out. It's the decals, on both sides. The top part of the decal's missing. I don't know what's up with that. Huh, I didn't, it's got a silver tag horn on it. Let's see what the VIN is. So it's a build date of January of 70. When I go to zoom in, sometimes it jumps. I don't know why it does that. Let's see, get my thumb out of your way. So it's got a VIN of 143013. So that's a really late January of 70, because I have a February of 70 that is like 143400. So this bike came from the last week of January, I would say. I was talking about the horn. So I call this a silver tag horn. That's the very first horn on the CT70s. It's black, and then it bolts to the bracket underneath. All right, and those were on the very first CT. Well, actually, these. Let me back up and get my thoughts correct here. So this horn stuck around for about as long as any silver tag parts did, because I have found these on bikes that have a number up to 160,000. So this horn, even though we refer to it as a silver tag horn, it stayed around for much, much longer than the silver tag runs, which was only about 15,000 bikes, and it lasted for the first 60,000 bikes. So, but yeah, the after this, the horns were silver, and instead of the bracket bolting to the bottom, it bolted to the back in 2 spots. So, yeah, that's a pretty decent looking bike. Let's see if it does make any noise. No, it doesn't even sound like it's trying. Give it a second here. It was on, I think it was on the on position, and I moved it to reserve. No, I don't think this one is a runner. Let's grab a ratchet. Let's pull a plug and see if we've got spark. Let's take you with me. Tell you what, hang on a second. Grab a stand here. Definitely got fuel. The plug is wet. So I'm going to guess it's a no spark. Make sure the key is on. Yeah, we got nothing. Make sure it doesn't, something's wrong with the key. Yeah, we don't have anything. Oh, we've got good compression though. Yeah. So I'm going to guess, because the wiring up here looked okay, there may be an issue down in here, but I'm going to guess it probably just has some dirty points. We'll have to clean the points on it, and we can probably get it to run then. So, which will be fun. That'll make for a good video. We will throw this on the table and just do one video of going through it again and getting it to run, and doing those things, and then eventually we'll maybe tear it down and clean it up and do a series on it. But before we get to any of these bikes, we still have this one to finish. So, and if you haven't seen it, I've got 3 or 4 videos on that bike. So, but we'll talk about it at a later date. Well, there you go, guys. That's the 3 bikes I bought. $2,500 plus a few random parts. Like I said, I don't know if that's a good deal, bad deal, but it's an okay deal for me. I was more than happy to get it, and glad to have some projects that we can continue to do videos on, and so I get to chat with you guys and interact with you, which is why I really do this, because it's a whole lot of fun. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining me, and I will see you on the next video. See ya.